Simmo, Simon Jessup, welcome to the Forging Fire podcast. Great to have a chat to you, mate. I'm back down here in Tassie. You're up in Ballina. How's things?
Oh, great. I'm on holidays. It's just me and the kids this week. Wife's back at work. It's actually, the sun's out, nice. Which when you were up here wasn't so great.
It rained for 12 days straight, mate.
Yeah. So look, we're spoiled at the minute. Like it's been out for about 3 or 4 days. So can't ask for anything more than that, especially with the kids on holidays. So yeah, no, it's good. Jits is back. So, can't ask for any more.
Oh, nice. So you're back at training? Awesome.
Yes. Yep. Started back last week and just, rolls before that while we were in the downtime. So yeah.
Yeah, so mate, you'd started before I met you, because I think I might have been away when you started or whatever. I can't remember when you started. Tell me your story, how you ended up doing jiu-jitsu, what, how, why, when.
Oh, okay. So look, I've only been doing it for 3 years. Like October was my 3rd year anniversary. How I started, there's actually a bit of a long version, which is sort of probably the better thing, because a friend of mine, Chris Mundy, I don't know if you know this, but
yeah, I know Chris.
We know Chris. Well, anyway, we live at Angels Beach, and there was a really terrible situation a few years ago where a young woman was raped on our beach in the middle of the day. And Chris actually heard screams for help and ran and stopped the rape and chased this man down the beach, around the whole Angels Beach estate. It was traumatizing just to hear about it, that it happened here. And Chris apprehended the guy, but at that time, Chris had never done any martial arts, as far as I know. And from that experience, he was thinking about his kids. And he was thinking about himself, because when he was chasing this guy, like, for a long time, and this guy was like, Chris didn't know whether he had a knife or anything. So from that really terrible experience, he started jiu-jitsu, like early with David at the Broken Head Hall. Like he just saw a sign and started doing that. And then for a year or longer, he was hassling me. I used to play soccer in winter. Well, I did until I wrecked my knee.
Yeah.
And he was saying, man, you got to do this thing. It's super hard. And I don't know, like, for any locals, we used to do this cardio boxing. You remember John Fisolosi at your gym?
Yeah, I know John. Yeah.
John, right. So we used to do cardio boxing about, I don't know, 12 years ago with him down at the hall here in Ballina. And that would be the hardest thing we'd ever done, like a workout with John. And he's like, every training session is harder than that. And I never believed him.
Yeah.
And then I got to the end of a soccer season, and I was at a loose end, and I need to be doing stuff, like physical stuff, just to keep me in line. And I tried it thinking it was going to be I don't know. Like I'd tried different martial arts, like seriously, only for like a couple of weeks at a time,
Yeah.
like do a trial, like where you do karate and it's quite simulated. And I
Colours.
did this, and because I was training with my mate Chris,
Mm.
he was actually quite gentle on me. And I thought, oh, this is cool. But then it wasn't till I rolled with Ben Canner training with him that I realized, I was like, oh my God, this is really, this is brutal.
I don't refer to Ben by his real surname.
Oh, right.
No, I refer to him as Ben Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was right, because everyone else was like, oh, you're new. So
Yeah.
the grips around the neck were quite generous. But then at an all, I was like, oh, this is all right. I'll start doing the all levels. And then I trained with him because Chris wasn't there. And I was like, whoa, what do I get myself in for here? This is all very, very full on.
You're in a fight. You're in a fight when you're doing a round with Benny.
Yeah. And from and then because when I first started, I used to squeal like sort of like how I am now, like yeah. As soon as someone would get like something on my neck, like I used to squeal and cry, and like I just thought it was outrageous that someone could do something like it's nothing. Like it's like, oh, I'm just gonna pull this across here, and you're like, oh, hang on. You can't do that. For about 6 months, I was like, you can't do that, can you? Every move, someone, what you can do that? Wow, that's a thing. That's just par for the course.
Yeah.
So, So that's how I got into it, through Chris, and that was some of my sort of early experiences with it, and what I found with it, like it's a ridiculous sport, especially like I was 43 when I started, like I'm 46 now. Just the discipline, like, and David, the boss.
Yeah.
Like Chris said, like like don't be an idiot, because I got to, like I've always, I don't know, like a compulsion to try and say something funny or whatever. And the more it's more serious the situation, the more the compulsion rises. But Chris was like, don't be a dickhead around David, man. Like he like he's a good guy, but you make sure your feet are clean, and just don't talk too much. Just listen and do it. And mate, when he first started giving me push-ups for like doing the wrong thing or saying something out of turn, I was like, I'm a 43-year-old man. I'm not doing push-ups. But you do them. You do those push-ups. And it just became a thing, or it's like, I'm going to shut up now. Like, it only takes a couple of, like, this guy means business. Like, he's when he tells you to do them. And if he doesn't want you to talk because he's trying to teach you something, just shut your mouth. Like, that was, and my wife loves that. That's why she loves me going so much. She's like,
what, to get you out of the house or to keep you under control?
Well, a bit of both, a bit of like, you know what, you need someone to tell you to shut up, and you do. When you're there, you come home and you're like, you're a bit more well contained, because when he says to do something, you don't say no, which is cool. But at 43, when you're the adult and I've got 2 kids of my own, you're sort of like, it's unusual. Like, you only get that at work with your boss, but then like doing jiu-jitsu, it's like having a second job. You got to learn all this stuff, show that you know it, and do what the boss says. So it's good. I need that. I love it.
I think my my coach John Will, same, very, he's definitely got a sense of humor. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But I think those boundaries are well put on the mat, which I guess for people who use levity as a way of dealing with stress is probably a little bit tougher than it is for other people.
Oh, it's a real shock, because it is, and it's good, because I probably didn't grow up with too many boundaries either, and so having that is like, it's good. It keeps you focused, and I don't know, it's just it's something I enjoy now, and I love watching other people like try and come on the mats without washing their feet and stuff like that, like because they don't know, just because they're new, or or just when you line up and someone walks up the front of the line, like past the black belts, ready to start, and it's like, and David will sort of go, yeah.
So you got the you've got the angel on one shoulder, on the devil on the other shoulder, one saying, should I tell him? And the other one, nah.
Yeah. Nah. That's it. Like in the beginning when you're like, oh, bro, I used to do that. But now you're just like, I'll wait for the boss to, all the way back, man. And now there's so many people, it's a long way back down to the start.
Yeah.
So I like that.
So 3 years in, you're a blue belt?
I am. Yeah. I'm probably only just starting to roll like a blue belt. I've got my 2 stripes, but I'm probably only in myself, only believing now that I am at a blue belt level. Which is kind of good, but it's funny because I was, well, like Wade, I partnered up with Wade the other night with one of Geezer's classes, and just he's got all the fundamentals down. Like he's got them down. So when we were doing this back taking stuff, my stuff was so loose, and then we weren't even like live rolling or anything like that.
Yeah.
But my stuff was loose, and really loose hooks and grips and stuff, and just having him go, man, if you could just sort of make sure you keep that bottom hook in, otherwise I'm out of there. It's like, oh, I got so much to tighten up. Do you know what I mean? Because like you're sort of like, oh, I'd love to work on this and this, but really I'm in my head, I'm like, I really need to just get them fundamentals down, because like you put a seatbelt on someone and it's the wrong way around, and whenever you and the time you do that, that's when the boss is watching, or you're doing it with someone you respect, and you've just like in a hurry and and you just put on this really so it was awesome getting the blue belt. I don't know if you like the funny thing was, I put so much pressure on myself about getting the blue belt. I thought I was going to explode before I got it. Like I was like, I got to get this blue belt, and I'm going to be able to beat everyone. And then it's like, actually, it's not a black belt. It's a blue belt. You actually don't need to know everything.
I think it is a significant milestone, though. There's a lot of people that never get to blue belt, or they get to blue belt and then they leave. It's remarkable the number of people that get to blue belt and leave. So
and I think that's sad. Like I look at when I started, and all the 4-stripe white belts that I thought were insane. Like I was just like, wow, look at the level of that guy, or guys who got their blue belt. And I said, look, I mean, you just think to yourself, like, as a 1-stripe white belt, this person is on their way, man. Like I roll with them and they're so hard, and I know nothing, and look at them, and then they're gone, and you're like, what a waste. Or you see them in the supermarket and you're like, man, why like go through all that, like that whole, and still now, like just being on the bottom for all that time, just being under guys, being under girls, getting choked, like being the dummy for people, like with real exotic stuff, like, and they just work their stuff on you, and and then you work your way up to going through all that to get to blue belt, and you can sort of do more attacks or whatever, and it's like just wasted. Or, I'm going to come back to it. And like, they're people you're friends with who you're like, man, we started at the same time. Like, come back. Don't leave it too long. Like, I hurt my finger. And it's like, oh man, like, I just don't think going through all that stuff all the whole time, like, you just go through so much to persevere, to come back. Because like, how many times do you want to quit? Jeez, like, you're just driving home like,
Yeah.
Well, I gave it a shot. And it's not for me. I'm an older guy. It's not for me. But I just couldn't imagine doing that now,
No.
like, because you just put too much. You got too many beatings. It would be nice to, like, now when new, really fresh, weaker white belts come along and you get to, like, practice stuff.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So, and I think too that I know that the days or the nights that I don't really feel like going into training, but I do go. I'm just always so glad that I did.
Yeah, I bet you are, laying all over people and fucking them up. Yeah, I bet you are. I would love to be like that at that level where it's like.
But I mean, from an endorphin sort of perspective and how I feel, prior to going
trying to live
training,
for it.
Yeah.
And everyone would love to get something on you, like, like to get something on a black belt is, and someone who's known for using their weight and just the way you, just the way you crush people.
That's about all I've got.
People would be like, man, if I could get something on that guy, that would be nice. So to lift yourself and go.
I'll look forward to the day you get me.
I
love it when Geezer gets me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or Dominic.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys started with me, and they're, I think their jiu-jitsu is so much better than mine now. They're just
that'd be a lovely feeling, just like looking and going, look, you guys, not only did you stick with it, like they, and like he's like, because David's away, like he's just taken classes and that, and it's good. Like it's a lot of what I imagine like you would have taught. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit heavier. Like it's different sort of passing and stuff like that. So that sort of stays on with them, and Dominic will just knock down the front door. Like he can do it all, obviously, but when he does teaching and stuff like that, it's very front. Just we're going to batter down that front door and till we're through. So
Geezer's plus with Geezer, you've got Geezer's warm-ups to get through before you actually start doing technique.
Oh, yeah. So look, so he thankfully he's chilled out on that, which is, oh man, that wasn't a warm-up, that was a workout. That was
totally.
It was very hard to concentrate afterwards, like when you're just like, okay, now we're going to do this and this, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to have a little Ralph. Like fitting an hour's worth of high intensity into 10 minutes, and then going off to do all levels for 2 hours was challenging. And Mark, if you're listening, thanks very much for that. And I know David appreciated that. He loves going hard, like rolling hot, rolling. So no one's got any strength to rely on. It's all technique. So,
but I'd say it's would you say it's benefited you?
What's that?
All that hard training? I reckon it has.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you're physically a different person to when you started?
Me now, definitely. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, mate, I was 110. I was the heaviest I'd ever been, and not even withstanding Geezer's warm-ups, just doing it, and then sort of getting into a few months and going, I really need to lose a bit of weight. It comes off anyway. Everyone loses. If you're bigger, you lose 10 kilos in a few months just from being consistent with training, not going overboard. Everyone does it. You always ask people, like, you go, man, you look good, man. What's happened? It's like nothing. 10 kilos come off me.
Yeah.
Just from doing this, and then but then you're sort of like, well, I want to be a bit more flexible or whatever, or I need to actually start thinking about what I'm eating and lose weight, so you can actually be a bit faster. I think that's a big thing for me. Like end of last year, losing weight, and just going, okay, this has really helped to get away from people.
Mate, when my belly's been a bit bigger, it makes inversion impossible.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like seriously, like when
Yeah.
you do a side roll and you got a big belly and a big neck, in my case,
Yeah.
a big turkey neck, like seriously, I know it's, I always do like a side roll, couple of either side when I'm warming up, just to sort of know where I'm at physically,
Yeah.
because when I get it, when I can't breathe properly, I know it's time to ease up on the intake. And when I'm doing them side rolls nice and easy, it's like, okay, I'm at a decent weight. Because you just choke yourself with
Yeah,
your
I think,
own gut going upside down. So
yeah, well, I think, we've got, I mean, you're 10 years behind me or 11 years behind me age-wise, but yeah, it's definitely that managing your body just becomes so important. I don't know how you feel. I feel sore after every session pretty much.
yeah, like this, like, yeah, 100%. Like, you have times where, like at the end of last year, like I thought I was, oh, this is embarrassing. I thought I was so good, like, but I wasn't. But it was because I think I was in pretty good physical shape, and I wasn't feeling that pain, that soreness.
Yeah.
But now that good time has sort of come to an end and everything's sore after training, everything slows down. You're a bit tentative about takedowns or how hard you want to hit something, because you're like, oh, I'm already sore. But when you don't feel that pain, how much better are you?
Yeah.
So looking up, yeah, when you're feeling good, nothing sore, and you feel you can go that bit harder and try and keep up with these fellows, it's a good feeling. But now that's gone. I'm on the slope of that, the
You can turn that around,
sort
mate.
of thing. Hey, I know I will. Just keep showing up. But it is nice when you hit a patch of form, and I think it's got to do with how good your body feels, because you can just you're just doing stuff, and
I think sometimes you got to hit the bump at the bottom of the roller coaster to realise you've got to climb back up the other side.
Yep. And look, and yeah, 100%. And that's where I'm at. Like, and you do talk to, like, you're talking to people all the time about jiu-jitsu, because everyone's at a different thing. But, like the Adam Sowdens, the Geezers, all those guys are like, yeah, man, I like you're so lucky where you were in the cogs. Someone else's cogs are now coming up as yours are coming down. And, because you're doing stuff that you think's good, but then people are getting used to it, or other people that are coming up are matching the way, like, like they're getting better at rolling for a full 5 minutes. Whereas before they go for a minute and gas because they just started. And now you're like, okay, this is, so therefore, they're coming up as you're sort of petering off a bit and got to come up with something new. which is always disappointing. When your old stuff doesn't work. Not that I've got a lot in the bag, but when you do find something you're comfortable with, and then it's like they're like, I know that, I'm just going to break that De La Riva hook and knee bar you. So it's like, great, that doesn't work anymore.
Just forces evolution.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, mate, Geezer told me that you had a bit of a crack at a comedy competition or something.
Yes. Yeah. Well, man, that is so long ago now. Like, seriously, that could be, like, the kids were so young, like they're 15 and 13 now. But so it's sort of like I don't know. There's a bit of a story. So when I was sort of about 32, like everything just sort of built up, and I basically had to go to the GP and just say, I just wasn't right. It was anxiety and depression, and I have had it 4 years before that, but never put a name on it. Never had the strongest coping mechanisms or cleverest ones, like most sort of young men, but never put a sort of name on it, and just sort of had it as this feeling that would sort of calm, and you'd write it out and go. But this time, and it was bad. So me and my wife, like, she was awesome. Like, we went up, saw my GP, Uma, who's not there anymore, but she was awesome. So started medication, started going to a psychologist, and actually put a name to what I was experiencing. And that really, I sort of felt like life began then.
Yeah.
Which was awesome and frightening at the same time to put a sort of name on it. And even once I'd put a name on it, that took out a lot of the, when you got all these feelings and thoughts and things like that, and you look at other people and just assume other people's lives are quite easy, or they're born with natural coping mechanisms and stuff like that. But actually, some people are, but it's just good to know that most people really aren't. And you need to, and then you need to go through like your CBT, and things like that, and actually learn to recognize what are helpful and not helpful thoughts and triggers and things like that.
Yeah.
But so since then, life's just been, well, it's just a lot of that noise where with like the anxiety, and then worse when you're depressed, and you know, and it's quite insidious, and you're bringing yourself down, even though there's no real, it's not actually real. It's all self-imposed sort of stuff. And because you don't recognize it, or, you know, like you're not prepared to do it. So after doing it, that was great. And so it's good to say, this is what I got, and that's what's fun. I can recognize things now. And so that's just been a life-changing thing. But from that, like, I got a lot of confidence out of that, and I'm thought, well, what can I do? I've sort of held myself back in life with doubt and like things like that. And I thought, you know, what I've always wanted to do, and like people go, oh, you're pretty funny. Not that I'm funny today, but you know, it's like, I thought, and like, I would love to do stand-up comedy. And the thing is, if you're on the North Coast, it's compulsory to do Mandy Nolan's stand-up comedy course. Do you know Mandy Nolan at all? Yeah. So Mandy's like been around, and she does a comedy course, and she's hilarious herself, her and Ellen Briggs, and they've blown up. And so more power to her. And she's actually in politics now. But so about 10 years ago, me and a mate, Damien, we were like, let's go do it. And we did it. And the good thing about it was, you go, and it's workshops at night once a week. But the thing is, like, you build over, I think it was like 10 weeks or something. And you go and do what's called the Virgin Sacrifice, which is like a show at the Byron RSL. The Workers Club, sorry. And you build to it, and you learn how to, you know, like, it's so different being like, you know, sort of at parties when you're with someone funny and you listen to them and that, and you're just like, man, that is so funny. Like, I could, but to translate that into like words, like writing and stuff like that, is so different. And trying to engage, like, it is so scary, because when you crap at it, which everyone is to begin with, it is so humiliating. Even though, like, it's not cattle stations, but in your head, it is. Like, you're up there, it's dark, the lights are on you, and you're like, that, and everyone's like, and it's you know, you're at the Mullen pub doing an open mic night. It's just dead silence, or you can hear no one stops eating. All you can hear is people eating, and they're like, and you're just like, you know, like, it's open mic, it's nothing, you know, there's no money involved or anything like that. But to you, it's actually, you're pouring your heart and soul out. You've taken all this time to write stuff, and you might have done it at other open mics and stuff like that. But me and Damien, we did that for about a year together. Like, just because after that, that Virgin Sacrifice was the best. Like, that was fun. Like, because you got family, friends coming, and then the other sort of 9 people that are in it, they've got family and friends, and it's really supportive. But it's actually a false economy, because you think, well, I'm going to kill it everywhere. I'm going to be the next, you know, whatever.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. Everyone loves this. but it's your family and friends. So then you go to these open mic nights where no one knows you and isn't going to throw you a couple of laughs. And it is bad, man. When even, even if you got some good stuff, but you hit them like you want to try something new, and it's not great. Just that one bit of silence just kills you.
Yeah.
But it was good. So we sort of did that, and through that, you got the Triple J. What's it called? They do that comedy thing every year. I can't even remember what it's called. That's terrible. But so me and Doug, we did that, and that was so much fun because I'd actually had like a good 5 minutes. Probably my only good 5 minutes, that's for sure. 5 minutes takes a lot of.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's on YouTube, folks. You can see Simon Jessup doing.
So we just look up Triple J comedy, Simon Jessup.
Yeah. And even if you don't like it, that's the best I had. So that's how bad I was.
I'll be watching that. I'll be watching that straight after this. So
yeah. So that was cool. So that had a lot of stuff about my mum and dad in it, and they were dad was there, but yeah, mum was at home for that one. But that was good. So we went, and me and another guy won that night. Like,
yeah.
And the competition's huge. So it's so we had to go to Brisbane after that, and that was horrible, man, because a lot of my jokes or the story basically is about here, like growing up in Federal, which is a very small town around here, like super rural and swimming holes and whatever. So up there, I did the same routine, got a couple of laughs, but I think I even cut it short, or I couldn't get out of there quick enough. And with that, like going from that virgin sacrifice where you think you're king of the world to a competition where these guys were there were some, oh man, some were so good, some were awful. They just had heaps of confidence. But you look around, you go into this comedy club, and there's dudes you've never even heard of, but they're doing like paid spots at this comedy club. So it's super competitive, like, and to get, not that I was ever going to get there, but you sort of have dreams, like, oh man, imagine if I could do this. And that was, but the thing is, it's so competitive, even like to get to someone who, like, I don't know, it's like there's those Aussie guys that just tour all the time and just go up each coast and just make heaps of cash. To get to that is unbelievable because it's so competitive.
So we're not going to see your Netflix special anytime soon?
God, no, man. Like 5 minutes from open mics is from 11 years ago isn't I don't know if I could sell that to Netflix or whatever. But that was great to do, and that come off the back of getting confidence about life and just doing it. And if anyone wants to challenge themselves and get up in front of people, and I would suggest doing it at a course with someone or a friend or something where you can bounce off each other, because it is fun. And like, there's nothing better than spending a few hours with other people, like just coming up with funny ideas and listening to their stories about family, because it, like, a lot of the good stuff like just comes from your own experiences. So if and everyone and family and kids and life, no one's got anything straightforward. There's always someone who's a character in your family who's just fodder for making great stories and jokes and stuff. But
you are pretty funny though. You're the only guy I know, I saw, that hijacked the grading to make a little impromptu.
Well, mate, I was surprised, man. You should have seen my blue belt speech. That was that was like I made it to black belt. But I'm surprised that was allowed to slip in for a stripe,
Yeah.
But that was cool. Thanks to Vid, and thanks for everyone asking for it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good fun.
So, mate, you work as a nurse?
I do, yes. I'm a community nurse. So that's cool. I've probably done more community. Like, I've got 20 odd years of experience as a nurse, still getting paid as an 8th year. Thanks, New South Wales government. Um, but that's what you get once you get to 8 years, unless you want to go up the ranks. That's it. Get paid the same as someone with 8 years experience. But so I've probably got more experience than I did in acute care nursing now.
Yeah.
And then lately I've been doing the virtual COVID care stuff.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, like as it's all sort of going down.
Yeah.
Sort of trying to support people with it at home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting and different, challenging. And for the people trying to isolate at home and stuff like that.
It's like, that's me now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'll call you.
Yep, we can get you a food hamper and some nicotine replacement or something like that to keep you sane, basically, you know.
Yeah. And mate, you've done a bit of end of life care, sort of.
Yeah. Well, community nursing and end of life care, like that's just sort of your core business is wounds, which is what I love. Catheters, stomas, things like that. But palliative care is one of the big ones, and that's and I'd say most people would say that's the most challenging one.
Yeah.
You're trying to, because it is actually hard to try and pass away at home. If you don't have the supports, because you know the family or close friends, they will do the bulk of the work. Like we're a rural, well, not a rural service, but we're certainly not a metropolitan one. So you don't have someone there all the time to support, give the medication. So a lot of it is educating the loved ones and trying to support them as well, because you know you want them to be the person's husband, daughter, you know, or whatever, and not just their carer, because it's 24/7, and depending on what the disease is, it can be quite very challenging. So the bulk of it, you know, you got to give it up to the people who are there with them, and then we come in and support and do that. But because we can't be there all the time, like that it's about the person doing it. So when that comes off, it is the best feeling, and you do meet the most amazing people, like because it does, like, I don't know, like some people might do it, but you do think about your own mortality and how would you react. Like, you know, I've got a 15 and a 13-year-old, and I've got my wonderful wife. Like, how would I react? How would I behave with a life-limiting illness, like a terrible diagnosis? And how, and you look at people and the majority, you just admire the way they sort of go about that last stage of their life, and the ones who have had a really good life, I'm like, okay, I'm actually ready. Like, but you know, a lot of, and then it gets tricky with people who you know, they don't have a great relationship with their family. They may not have been a great person. And do not have any support. So you sort of got to support them more, you know, to try and do what they want to sort of stay home or whatever. But that can be hard if you got no supports. Like you wish to stay home, if that's what it is. You know, it's not easy to do that. It can be quite messy, and so it is good to try and get them in somewhere right near the end there for that 24-hour care. But that is definitely rewarding. It's super challenging because you've it's better now. Like up here, like we've had a few changes, and the service has had enhancements and is changing, and so that's good for us on the ground, because you know, we do a lot of the sort of day-to-day, keeping an eye on people and trying to escalate things as things deteriorate. But now we've got a lot more people above us to assist us with that, because we do a bit of everything. It's hard to be an expert in all of it. So it is great having those people to support us more now. So I take my hat off to those guys, and because they do it full time. Like, that's what they do. That's their job. Whereas I do a bit of everything, which I like. I like not being bogged down in one thing or the other, or when you have like especially a palliative care thing that doesn't go that great, or you know, you just it can get you down, but then you're sort of like, well, I got to go and focus on doing this leg ulcer or something like that, which is like I just shift into another realm that isn't so heavy if it's not going great. So, but yeah, no, that's a good job. I'd recommend anyone try and see it. Like, it's funny because when you're in hospital and you're working with hospital, you just assume everyone's middle class people who are well supported at home, who got all the resources in the world. But you know, that's where it's great being a community nurse. Like, you don't just sort of go, you don't just go in and assess. I'm here for, we got a, you know, for a wound, or you know, they've had surgery and they got a wound that didn't go so great. After that, we're here for that. You look at their whole situation and how, you know, you find out what they want, and you can, you know, there's services out there to keep people in the home, keep, you know, hygiene's a massive thing. If, you know, people would rather muddle through sometimes and think they could end up in a nursing home, but a lot of focus is on trying to get people to stay in the home. And if you've lucky enough, you sort of can get enough services to keep you at home, and that's good as well. And just changing people's lives, like the social workers and stuff like that, like getting, they're great. So, and you know, so you refer them to those sort of people, which, so the whole of community health, I think, is pretty amazing. Like, it's you know, it only gets a small part of the budget, but what you can do within it to change people and stop them accessing the acute services with education and the right referrals is pretty priceless. So I love it.
Do you do you find that your sense of humor helps with doing your job?
Yeah, I do. I've got to keep it in check, especially in the office and with people. And honestly, I used to get into a, well, I don't know why I used to behave like that, but I used to, but yeah, like I'm better now. Like, I'm a lot better now than I used to be. I used to try and make everything into a joke, and and it's just not right with what I do. Like, and some people are very serious people and they don't respond to humor or trying to sort of jolly them around to look a bit more positive at certain things. So I'm a lot better at gauging the crowd, and you know, I've got a game face when I go and see people. Like, I don't like certainly I'm a lot different at work, and that sort of helps keep me out of the boss's office, which is which is good. So look, I'm very aware of like the professionalism, and I can sort of feel like, especially in the office, if we're trying to decompress and you know, we're sort of being a bit funny or something, I can sort of, I've got a better sense for what is appropriate and what's not. It's still not great, but it was funny. One of my old colleagues and one of my best colleagues, we used to, because she was pretty bad, but she's gone up the ladder and she's super, she's a great manager now. And but we used to have safety words like Cincinnati and Mississippi. If it was like, hang on, you are going off, man. Like, you can't say this in an office or whatever. So you go Cincinnati, and that would be the trigger to ease it back and just remember that you're at work and not at a pub somewhere saying outrageous things. So, but it helps because it's pretty crazy. Like, health is pretty crazy. Some of the things you see, and so it does help. Like, you know, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry with a lot of things. So it certainly helps to switch it up and try and keep it light as you can.
And if you have a shitty day, you can go to jiu-jitsu.
Hey, mate, that's it. Like, on you 100%. That's the big thing for me about jiu-jitsu. You just, when you're there, you forget. Usually after the warm-up, I'm pretty exhausted and I've forgotten. I've got endorphins going, and then I'm trying to follow the instructions and act like a blue belt, like I know what I'm doing or something like that while we're doing it. So so that's the best thing. Like, jiu-jitsu is perfect for that. That's for sure.
So you reckon you'll stay the distance? How long do you see yourself training jiu-jitsu?
Well, injuries permitting, the whole way. Like, I just can't see. outside of injuries or a massive life change or something like that, yeah, I'm just too stupid to give up. Like I've been pounded.
Oh, I think that
Pounded.
about myself sometimes, actually.
Yeah,
Oh.
like if I had any sense and any pride, I would have given up by now. But I'm just too stupid and think that I'm progressing. And then you get your blue belt, you get a couple of stripes, you can see, not that like it would be embarrassing to get a purple belt for me, but well, it'd be for David anyway.
When David
you
gives
can.
you a purple belt, when David gives you a purple belt, you've earned it.
Oh, 100%. So in a decade's time, when I do get it, I'll know I've earned it, because I look at you look at who's got it and who was for so like the Doms and like Adam and Wade. Oh my God.
Wade's a very talented kid. He's probably, how old is he? 21, 22?
No, I think he's a bit older than that. But yeah, oh no, he's talented, man. He's
a talented young athlete.
We're
not talented or young or athletes.
No, but like when you say like staying the distance, I think about not so much Wade, because he won't need that long to get to black belt, but and also he's an innovator. Like he's thinking and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably not. But the thing is, I look at the other young guys, and I look at I got a routine. I do the 3 nights a week. I do the Saturday morning rolls.
Yeah.
And as long as my wife's happy for me to do that, I think that's a good level to sort of be training at my age and balancing kids. Like I'm actually spoiled. I should probably be there only once a week and rolling Saturday, but I'm spoiled. But the thing is, like, there's a lot of young guys who are class, and you sort of, inside you might be a bit jealous, going, "Oh, I wish I started younger." But I wouldn't have had the discipline to stay on with it. Like I would have, like you get girlfriends, you want to go out, you want to party, you want to go to raves, you want to do good stuff, jiu-jitsu, and being consistent with it. I take my hat off to people who could do that. But now at this time of my life, it's perfect. Like I've got routine. So, but
you're also at a club. You're at a club that's got a really good number of guys around your age.
Yeah.
Of a variety of belts, who've all got the same sort of stuff going on as you. They've got, they've got work, they've got family to balance and whatever. And yeah, it's looks like a good team to be amongst. And they're it's like looking at the older, you've got the Ben, Shagger, Geezer, all those guys. Great bunch of people to be around, and be be a belt or two behind.
Exactly, like that's 100%, because I like all those guys and like your Scotties. And if Scotty, you're listening, let's face it, you don't do jiu-jitsu, you're just a giant wrestler. Like they've got stuff in their life. 4-stripe blue belt wrestler. There, I said it.
The man's a mountain.
Yeah. Ever heard of playing guard once or twice? Anyway, I've been kill me like that. But it's good. It's why I go. It's those guys. That's why I'm there. If they weren't there, it would be very hard to. I think it'd be a lot harder to motivate myself to go. Like Shannon's got a knack when you're, it's like, I'm rubbish. I really have. What am I doing? Why have I been coming so long? I am really rubbish. Look at all these guys. They're great. They're my age. They're killing it. And then from out of the blue, you won't even have to say anything. He'll be like, "Oh man," like blah blah. He'll just say something awesome. Like, where else would you rather be? It's always offshore in here, man. Like, and you're like, "Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's not about just skill and whatever.
Yeah.
It's the whole, it's the guys and the girls.
He's got his head in the right place. He's like, yeah, he's a good human, Shannon. He's yeah, definitely a team player.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
and especially like when you do seriously doubt yourself, like a while ago. Like I'd never give up now unless it was some sort of spinal injury, and just keep plugging away till I die. But yeah, guys like that, they make it. And if they weren't there, that would be very hard. Like if Geezer wasn't there, you know, and guys like that who are very funny and brutal. You know, and more than that, like they got different ways of doing things, and you know, they got kids similar ages.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. And you know, and I love all the younger guys that start, and I'm so impressed by like what they do and how into it they are in such a short time, and you know, the roles they do together and what they work on and stuff like that. But it is the older guys that sort of make it fun, even though they do you dry. they do you hard. But that's good though. But it's them. And the other thing is, like with that gym, what I like is, because my daughter's 15, she does it. She just got a yellow belt. She like is the women there. Like there's so many and so many good ones, and just so many wonderful people. But I think having a lot of women that train there is a big thing in that as well.
It's quite unique, actually. I don't think there are that many clubs, particularly in small country towns. I mean, but let's face it, Ballinar's only got, what, 15 in Ballina itself, there's probably 15 to 20,000 people.
Yeah. Well, just locally, yeah. Like if you don't add sort of Alstonville and Lennox and all that, yeah.
But to have that many women on the mat is phenomenal, really. It's it's quite unique. You know, there are a few city clubs that have, you know, there are big clubs in Melbourne and Sydney and, you know, the Gold Coast and Brisbane that have quite a lot of women, but they've also huge clubs as well.
Yeah.
Whereas Portal's, as a percentage, I think of its, I mean, Portal's, you know, a reasonable sized club too, but there's a good number of women there, and there seems to be a really good number of families that are training where there's dad and the kids, or mum and the kids, or mum and dad and the kids, you know.
Look, and that's what I like about it. Like you become quite close with those families and stuff, and you know, it's well documented. You know, we do the camping and stuff like that. But it is good that everyone in the family, even if like mum or dad doesn't do it, but mum does it, the other partner is super supportive of it and can see how good it is for the family to be that sort of active and into it, and it's a bit of an unusual sport. It's sort of, you know, it's a funny one.
And it's fun. Well, I hadn't even thought about it much until I was up there for Geezer and Eli's grading for their black belt presentations, and I was talking to one of the fellas, and you know, he made the comment, "Oh, there's no cliques here." Yeah, like everybody, like it's quite unique in that there are no little groups that have gone off by themselves that are, you know, it's like it's just one team. There are no cliques, you know, it's so to have that is pretty amazing, really.
Oh, look, it is, because you do, like, because I've never trained anywhere else, but you do hear stories about like places that are quite like that. Whereas here, like I think what a lot more like what I appreciate is, and what I try and do now or have done is, like when you get someone new, you make sure you say hello. Everyone will say hello. And they mean it, and they want the person to be comfortable. Like, here's the change room, here's this, here's that. Where'd you come from? What'd you do? You know, you're in the right place. You know, they'll say, oh, you know, I'm looking to start jiu-jitsu, or I've done jiu-jitsu here and there. but everyone will do it. Like, and you know, like, and you watch someone like Adam Sowden, he's the best at that. He's just like, before they're in the door, boom.
Yeah.
How are you, man? Welcome. And and a lot of guys are like that. And then you learn that that's what you do here. You don't just sit and stretch or whatever. You make sure that everyone is said hello to and everyone's comfortable, and you know, and then you meet these new people and they guillotine your head off.
It's like it's like a sucker punch, really, isn't it? It's just like,
you're chatting away, and then you slap hands, and you're all like, and then they just go launch in and get under your chin, the rat bags. But no, it's good. It's just awesome. Like it's good, and the people make it. You know, like that. At the end of the day, the people make it. You know, we got world class coach, and then we got, you know, like, you know, Dan Corcoran. Mate, like that guy he's an awesome coach. Like, just the way he explains things, breaks it down. Like, for me, you know, like you sort of, you know, like, it can seem like there's thousands of combinations and ways to get out of things, but with Dano, he just breaks it down. Like, if you're pinned here, you're pinned here. There's only A or B. There's only A, B, or C. For someone like me, who's not that quick, it's like, oh my God, this is gold. Like, you know, and then you got Geezer, man, teaching the subs and just the gold as well. So, you know, and then you've got the master, David, man, like, far out. What that guy doesn't know, you know, and he's so little, and it's like, man, what could that guy possibly do?
Well, and I think that's one of the things that, you know, is proof of the essence of, you know, jiu-jitsu technique overpowering,
100%.
overcoming strength, and
100%. Like, and that's what I've realized now. Like, people have said it since day one, but you're like, oh no, like strength or whatever. You sort of feel it, like when you roll with someone strong, you're like, oh, they got me pinned here. But as you sort of go along, you're like, oh, that's good. Come forward, try and bury me, do whatever. Because, you know, it's just like, you know, shifting weight or whatever. And you know, David and Pedro, like, holy smokes, man. Like, with Pedro, there's no floor. He's under you. He's under you the whole time. And I probably have 30 kilos on that guy. Like, so it's amazing. Like, the more you go on, the except for Scotty, you know, strength isn't such a thing. Like, my kryptonite was strong white belts. Like, they were just bang, smash, and I'd be like, I'm stuck here. But now I'm like, please.
It's lucky Scotty's a nice bloke, isn't it?
It is. Like, that guy. Oh man. Oh my God. I would hate to fire him up generally. Like, that could be bad. Like, oh my God. Yeah. That's
he's a big unit.
He is, man. Like, and then apparently in Tasmania, where he's from, they're all like that. Like, he's quite middle of the range, he reckons.
Yeah, there's some big boys down here.
Yeah. So I would hate to roll down there where you train. Yeah.
Oh man, well, it's been about an hour. We've been chatting. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Far out. That is, wow.
Yeah. Nice. So great to chat to you. I enjoy having the odd roll with you when I'm up that way. So nice.
I'm sure you do.
Nice to chat. Geezer referred to you as the club mascot. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
I don't know either. I have no idea either.
Knowing Geezer, it's probably both.
Yeah.
I'm glad he suggested to have a chat.
Yeah. No, well, thanks for having me. I'm excited. It's not often people ask you to talk, and I love talking. Well,
people just don't have long form conversations anymore, really.
Nah, man. Nah. Where do you get an hour to chat to someone, you know? Never.
Yeah. No, I love it. I've really enjoyed doing this stuff, and I've loved talking to you. So thanks, Simmo.
All right. I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time I'm up at Portal.
Of course. All right, bro. See ya.
See you, brother.
Bye.
Bye.